you shouldn't take advice from people that are okay with you being hurt.
They're being dismissive about entering your house. How do you think they're going to be about leaving? Absolutely not.
Why are you being upset about something that didn't happen?
Hey, welcome to OP Said, where we read the wildest and most varied Reddit stories.
I'm Marie, and sit back and enjoy some tea.
And I'm May. Sit back and enjoy the wild ride. Let's jump in.
First story. Am I the asshole for kicking my husband and mother-in-law out of the delivery room? I, 27 female, and my husband Dan, 29 male, became parents 8 weeks ago. My whole pregnancy was not easy due to placenta previa, but I managed to make it to 37 weeks. Something happened during the labour that I want an outside perspective on. When I went into labour, I called my mum and told her, and my husband called my mother-in-law and also told her. We both agreed that it would be just us at the hospital, but I was shocked to see my mother-in-law arriving to help. I thanked her for being there and reminded her that me and Dan agreed that it would be just us, but she said she came all the way so it would be bad to make her leave. I talked to Dan and told him that I was not comfortable with her being there, but he told me his mother was there to support. I called my mum to drive over because the hospital has a limit on only 2 support persons in the delivery room. When my mum arrived, I discussed with the nurses that my mum and husband would be the only ones allowed in the room. I figured if I'm going to have one more person in a room, I would rather it be my mum. My mother-in-law threw a fit, saying I am excluding her from the birth of her grandchild and that I am selfish. She refused to leave and said my mum should also be sent out and that I am purposely leaving her out. My mum, to avoid problems, said that she will be outside with her in the waiting room praying for us. Now here comes the real problem. It was getting more intense and I saw Dan recording me, so I politely told him that I do not feel comfortable being recorded. Even when a nurse came to check how dilated I am, he recorded it. I expressed it to him that this is bothering me and that I want to labour with no cameras. He said to me, since my mum cannot be in here, I'll videotape the whole thing for her and she won't have to feel like she missed out. When it came time to push, Dan had his phone all over me and recorded my private areas. I told the nurses to take the phone and please stop any recording, but he said I'm spoiling the moment. I screamed at him to get out and that I do not like it, and a lovely RN escorted him out because he was putting stress on me. When we were taken to recovery after birth, Dan did not bother showing up and only came after hours of me calling him. He called me selfish and said that I had excluded him from the birth of his son and excluded his mum and that they were both very hurt. His mum said that she had always wanted to witness a birth and that this was her only son and I ruined the moment for her grandchild being born. I expressed how frustrated I felt being recorded and Dan not considering me. They both stormed out of the hospital room. I am currently living with my parents because Dan has not come around. He has tried to get our son to sleep over, but since I am exclusively breastfeeding him, he cannot. In brackets, our son had some trouble latching during the first 2 weeks and we're still getting the hang of it. I do not want him to get used to the bottle. I have talked to Dan about me moving back to our house, but he said there is a lot we need to deal with first. In brackets, by the way, I'm in my parents' home because we were discharged and Dan did not pick us up. He has not seen our son in a while now and does not bother to check up on us. My dad did go by the house to talk to him man to man, but he was not home. I hope he will be able to fix things because before all of this, he was a pretty decent husband. Am I the arsehole for kicking my husband and mother-in-law out of the delivery room?
Is everyone looking at me because I'm the mum?
Absolutely. We have no experience.
This is your time. This is your moment.
Literally.
I've never. This is the most least expected moment I've ever had. I don't think that Dan was acting out of love. I think he crossed many boundaries. You guys had an agreement beforehand, and the agreement went something along the lines that it was your mum and him in the room. And I don't know where this is, but most of the time that's how it goes. And it normally is mother of woman and husband, partner, or whoever that person may be. And I just feel like not only did he cross your boundaries, he ghosted you after the birth of your
know.
child. He ghosted you when he wasn't supposed to. The best thing for me would have been for you guys to have been in the room, had the birth, how you planned it, explained to his mother that you didn't want to be filmed, you didn't want extra people in the room. That's something that she should have respected. It doesn't matter that she has never had that experience before. It's neither here or there. It's your birth. She hasn't experienced watching someone give birth. She gave birth. That's the experience in itself. And what's the fascination with wanting to see you give birth to her grandchild? The most important thing is the grandchild, and her ultimately kicking your mother out of the room is also kicking out your support system. So I just feel like your whole birth was quite traumatic from the sound of it. It doesn't sound like it was a good experience. It doesn't sound like it was a safe space for you. You had to scream at him to stop recording. He just crossed so many boundaries, and in my opinion, he deserves to be in the bin. And he's also not mature enough to actually own up to his mistakes. He's doubling down, and he's now ignoring you to the point that you're not even living in the same house. And what does he expect going forward? This is the main question that I have. What happens next?
Okay, so for me, it's quite simple. You're not the asshole for kicking him out because he violated you. You were really clear in a really big moment in your life that you were stressed. He was actually adding undue pressure and undue stress to you when you're trying to give birth.
Yep.
You had to repeat yourself several times whilst giving birth in a highly intense situation. You were more concerned about what this man was doing, and so you weren't concerned about what was actually happening. What should have been a memory that you treasure and an experience that you know, I don't know, maybe might look back on. It's now a really unpleasant experience because of the two people who single-handedly ruined that event for you. So firstly, it's your husband. I'm really concerned. Is it only now that you found out that he's a mama's boy?
Thank you.
Because everything about the delivery that you just described told me the most important person in the situation was his mum.
Yep.
It was that she couldn't be let in, and that he had to, because of that, he had to record you so that she had the footage. It was all about her wants, her needs. She wanted to see someone experience it, and that because she's a boy mum, she felt like it was unfair to her, that she didn't get the experience that she wanted. I don't understand what is happening here. It should have been all about your wife. It should have been all about how OP was feeling, how could you make the experience better for her? Her mum was even nice enough to say, do you know what? It's fine. In order to just alleviate any issues that we have in this situation, I'm going to take a back seat and I'm going to stay in the waiting room. And that was because of your husband's mum. Your mother-in-law stressed the entire situation. And then on top of it, she had her son backing her, not you. So OP, you did nothing wrong, but I really need you to understand, like, what Marie's saying about the fact that he ghosted you several times. Even your dad has had to try and play a role, but your husband wasn't available for that man-to-man conversation. There is something wrong with the relationship between your husband and his mum. And now it's finding its way to destroying your marriage. But as I say, I always come back to, how did you get here? How did you get to marrying a man who always, clearly, it looks like he always put his mum first. His mum and her feelings, her wants and needs seem to be more important than you. But also, he's shown that he's not an active parent. Everything that you just described is someone who's ghosted you when it came time to actually pick you and baby up, who doesn't come and visit you and your son, but somehow wants access and wants your son to sleep. It's not making sense, but you weren't the asshole here. I think really and truly, you need to divorce that man. He's told you who the priority is, and it's not you.
Absolutely. Like May, but anyway, everybody should now know. I always ask, how did you get this far?
how did you get to marriage? How did you get to having a baby with someone that clearly does not prioritize you? As the husband of a babe of a sorry, as the husband with a wife in labor, his only concern should have been his wife. It should have been supporting her, de-stressing an already stressed environment. But instead, he added undue stress to the situation and not in support of her, but against her. And also, this whole thing, I don't understand. Giving birth, it comes from, the baby doesn't come from your hand, okay? It comes from your private parts, yeah? I've always had a huge problem with the whole recording your private parts. Unless someone has given consent, I think everybody's wishes need to be respected. If someone says no, they don't want their private parts and the delivery of their child filmed, respect that and move on. Shut and stop the camera. There's so many things that were wrong in that situation, but ultimately, the fact that he just didn't care about his wife and what she was going through, and his mother trumped everything, her wants, her needs. And from the beginning, she had no respect for their delivery plans because she rolled up and said, oh, since I'm here anyway, I might as well stay. But that wasn't their arrangement. That wasn't their agreement either. And you can see the nature and the intentions of this man in the fact that, yeah, he didn't even pick her up. And also, he's not checking up on his son. So for me, I don't know. It would be a clear indication that there are major problems in my marriage. And also, this is not going to work because you can't even be a father to your son because of a disagreement or difference in opinion that we're currently having. Your son is missing out. He's not spending time with his dad. You're not even checking up on him. This is a hot mess. But do you know what? In this, the bit that stood out for me was also the grandma and him said Opie ruined their experience. That's crazy to me. This isn't about them.
But what that tells me is that even though they had a plan in place, the mother-in-law and him had another plan
Exactly.
because she turned up to the hospital before the birth and said, well, since I'm here anyway,
Yep.
I might as well. So that tells me that even though they had an agreement, he already said, mummy comes first. And in secret, may have said to the mum, well, we're going to be here. She's in labor. Maybe text her to tell her. And then when things didn't go as planned, because they thought they could force their way into the labor room.
Yeah.
And I'm not a person that cares about these sort of things. You can see as many people that can see my vagina, so I don't have to be in pain. I don't care. If you want to be students in the room, I don't care. My mother-in-law was in the room until they maybe when it looked like I wasn't giving birth, and I wasn't. It took me 5 whole days. She was there every step of the way. I didn't mind her being in the room. I didn't mind her being part of the situation. She even helped the situation.
Though.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. She wasn't forceful about it. She asked me if I wanted her to be there. And I said, if you want to, this is what, your third, fourth, is fine. If you want to see the baby, that's absolutely fine. But the only thing I want you to do is to make sure that the nurses pay attention to me, because my mum is not the best. She's not the best in an emergency situation. And I know that about my mother. So, and my husband is, but at the same time, she works, she has a background in nursing. So I was like, it makes sense to have somebody that would understand things that I wouldn't understand.
Yep.
From the get-go, she said, you're going to need a C-section. 5 days later, what did I get? A C-section. But she's experienced. She was calm in the situation. She told me to be strong, but not in a negative way. I actually felt like my mother-in-law being there was a very peaceful experience, but she's a peaceful person.
Yeah.
But what happened in this experience is you left that whole experience with a negative view of both your partner and your mother-in-law. And I don't think you're respected in your union.
Yep.
And going forward, I want to know what you're going to do about it. And when I say that, I mean, what's the plan going forward? You're saying that did she say she's confused actually? What was the last line that she said? No,
she just asked, is she the asshole for kicking her husband and mother-in-law out?
That whole mindset already lets me know that you might doubt the experience that you had. not a shadow of a doubt that you were wronged in this whole experience, to the point that the nurse actually actively had to put your husband outside of the birthing center.
And ask him to
That
stop
is
recording.
wild.
Yeah.
That is wild.
Do you know what it is for me? Is this is a clear example of enmeshment. Like there is clear boundary issues.
Yep.
But the thing is, you know, ever since she gave birth, they've left the hospital. Just have you noticed that she said he keeps his argument for why they can't come back together, live in the same house, is because he keeps defending his mum. He keeps defending his mum, her rights to see the grandchild be born, and that he got kicked out. His argument consistently is around the ill treatment of his mother, not the experience of Opie giving birth, not the fact that he single-handedly ruined it, or the fact that a third party had to intervene in order to help Opie so that she didn't have to be stressed out by this man recording here, everywhere, and her trying to not only manage delivering a baby, but also feeling uncomfortable and knowing that this footage would be in front of the mother. That's weird. Like, I think there was so many things going on, but his consistent argument for right now as to why they can't be a family of three is because he feels that there was ill treatment of his mum and himself.
Because he prioritizes his mother.
But this tells me that the relationship has no legs. It has no legs because straight away, who is the priority?
It's not an act of love. Definitely not.
For me, it was just that he was a stressor. He was a hindrance, not a help in this situation. And in this situation, he should have been helping, supporting, trying to calm, but instead he's adding pressure onto her. Like, this is strange. Honestly, this is beyond strange. But not only, I use strange sometimes in replacement of like madnesses because I don't understand. But really and truly, this is wrong. As far as I'm concerned, this is incredibly wrong. She has been wronged and she should not put up with it. And a lot of this situation, it all boils down to his priorities. He's a mummy's boy. He's literally a mummy's boy who will always put his mother first, her wishes, her needs, her desires, her ideals in front of any partner that he's got. So whether it's OP or anybody else, because what he did was terrible. As Marie said, that was traumatic.
He violated.
Yeah, he violated.
He actually violated her.
He also changed like what should have been a memorable, I don't know, like a great memory.
I can tell you what the future of the relationship looks like though. If they do come back together, it's probably likely going to be agree to disagree, because I don't think that she's ever going to back down and say she was wrong. The mother-in-law should have been in there. He should have been allowed to film
His
her.
son,
That's
that's
my thing. I think that they could potentially get back together.
Yeah,
but I'll tell you
for
something,
sure.
OP.
gonna happen again.
Don't have another kid with this man. You already know what the experience is going to look like.
But I don't think this relationship has legs, like May said, and honestly should work, because I think the only way it works is if you get on board and you side with them and them being your husband and mother. Otherwise, you're going to run into the same issues, but in different situations. So whether it's where your child goes to school, whether it's where your new home is, his mother's wishes will always come first. And I don't think that's fair for anybody in any relationship.
Do you know what? I saw something. It was I think it was an attorney that was on Diary of a CEO. And he was saying that when relationships break down, they fundamentally break down because you're having the same argument time and time again, just in different ways. And so I think their argument, I can tell you right now, Opie, your argument is going to be centered around the fact that he doesn't prioritize you and that it's all about what his mum wants.
Yeah. We have a top comment. Ruined her moment. I'm sorry, was she also spread wide on a table in labour? She's had her moment, not the arsehole, but your mother-in-law and husband are huge ones. Your wishes should have been followed with no argument. Your husband is a jerk to behave this way. I would think long and hard about what your future would look like after this incident. He should have been comforting and catering to your needs and not what his mum wanted. Agreed?
They're never going to disagree to agree, by the way. I feel like...
Agree to disagree.
I don't think they're going to do that.
I think so.
Because of how long it's been 8 weeks. And because she hasn't apologized, she stood her ground, he hasn't come to see the baby. Because of the actions of that day, he hasn't even seen his child.
So you think the relationship's over?
I don't think the
It's not
relationship...
8 weeks.
The baby's
He
8
just
weeks
said-
old.
Yeah, it's been 8 weeks, hasn't latched
If
on
the baby's
for
8 weeks old, what does that
That's
mean?
2 months.
I don't know where you lot got 8 weeks, you know.
Yeah,
It's not in here. I do know our son had some trouble latching during the first 2 weeks. Yeah, it's not.
I and my husband Dan, 29, became parents 8 weeks ago.
Oh, that's where I did wonder, but okay, cool. Yep, that's correct. Yep.
Mhm. So it's been 8 weeks. That's a long time
I think
to have
so.
the same argument in anything, friendship, marriage. That's a really long time.
that's
to
usually
then have the repercussions of that argument continue. He's seen his child. He is requesting for his child to come over for a sleepover, like the child is 5 or 6. This is a 2-month-old. Yeah. This is a 2-month-old. This is not like requesting.
No, it's
That's
true.
what you
It's
request
true.
a child that can walk over somewhere for a sleepover. You don't request for a newborn child who is hitting their first
I'm
trimester.
dying.
So this is the 4th trimester when the baby comes out. You've missed basically the 4th trimester of the baby coming out. You've got 1 more month left, and you're still doubling down. You haven't spoken to her. You've told her that she's a horrible person, basically. I don't think this is an argument that's going to be forgiven and swept under the rug. I think she ultimately has to apologize for them to then move on to the next bit.
I see. I don't know. I've had disagreements, even with May, that have lasted weeks, months, even sometimes years, just on one particular thing.
And
Do
it
you get what
was
I mean?
always Melinda that
And-
couldn't let it go.
And thank you. Excuse me, no one needs to know that. But anyway, and in the end, we've just agreed to disagree. Like literally. So that's why you say they can't do that. But I think if you wear someone down, and let time go past,
I've been worn
after
down.
a while, like it literally is a case where, do you know what? Let's just agree to disagree. It's just, you literally just can't do anything because they can't see your point of view and vice versa. So I know many people that have just been like, yeah, cool, whatever, agree to disagree. So I don't necessarily agree with that. But do you know what we haven't really spoken about? The fact that she has asked him and spoken to him about moving back home, and he said we still have a lot to deal with.
That's why I'm saying what I'm
moving
saying.
back.
That's precisely why I'm saying what I'm saying.
No, but who made him in charge of that? That's crazy because me,
Yeah,
anyway, I'm
but
turning up.
the
If
fact-
it's my home, I'm turning up.
It must not. She
It
must,
must
not feel
not
like it's.
be-
It must not feel like
It
that.
must be a home under his name.
No, but I know a lot of new mums have their mothers around. So whether the mum comes to live with them or vice versa. So that
The fact
could
that
be
he's locked her out of
why.
her house, because that's what I'm
She didn't
calling
say
this.
she hasn't said that she's locked out. That's why I'm not assuming. But I'm
Asking
just
for permission to go back to the
we're
house
not
that you've
asking.
lived.
She said that I have talked to Dan. So I think that's really strange.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like,
Anyway,
what?
look, I think everybody's called it. You're not the priority, OP. You weren't the asshole. The assholes are very clearly your husband and your mother-in-law.
Yeah.
I
Good
think,
luck with that.
I think everybody's just questioning what the future looks like, and that's it.
Yeah. So mine is from Am I the Arsehole? Am I the arsehole for telling my brother he can't use my house as a wedding venue if I'm not invited?
Okay.
All right, here's the situation. I, 35 male, own a home in Marin with a really nice backyard. Not massive, but it has a view, a deck, some trees, and we've done a ton of landscaping over the last couple of years. It's the kind of space people always comment on, like, you could host a wedding here. My younger brother, 31 male, got engaged recently, and they're planning this intimate, minimalist backyard ceremony. A couple of days ago, I get a call from Mum saying they'd love to use my yard for the wedding. She's already halfway into the logistics. Chairs here, rent here, etc. So I text my brother to say congrats and ask about how they want it set up, assuming obviously that I'm a part of it. And that's when he tells me, basically, I'm not invited. His fiancée isn't comfortable with me being there. No specifics, no incidents, just vague vibes. For the record, I've never been anything but civil to her, Though I have called her out before for being rude to service staff and kind of performative on social media. But that was ages ago and not even a huge deal. I told him straight up, you're not hosting a wedding in my backyard if I'm not even at the wedding. He said I was being transactional and petty and that it's just the location and that it would mean a lot to them if I could separate myself emotionally from it, like I'm Airbnb or something. Now my phone's lit up, texts from family, DMs from mutual friends, people saying I'm overreacting, that it's not about me, and I'm being the reason they can't have their dream wedding. My mum's asking for me to be generous and not escalate things. From where I'm sitting, this is pretty simple. If I'm not good enough to be invited, you don't get to use my house like some free wedding venue.
Yeah.
I'm not burning bridges here. I just don't want to be taken for granted. So, am I the arsehole?
No.
Absolutely not. Okay, so we clearly know who the favourite is. The one getting married. I've never understood people feeling entitled or wanting to use something of someone that they don't like and respect. Like, it doesn't belong to him.
Mm-hmm.
He should have asked for permission, because that, even the planning, I don't know how he's okay, because he's clearly heard his mum's planning and logistics. I don't even know how it's got to that far, personally. This is a really straightforward one. Not the arsehole. If you don't want me there, please go and find a venue that I do not own, because I will be enjoying my lawn that day.
It's
Literally.
the audacity for me. Like,
It's
how dare
entitlement.
you think that you can use my things? Like, and I spent a considerable, he said, over the past few years, he's been landscaping.
Yep.
So he's really invested in his home. And somehow he doesn't get an invite. Do you know what this reeks of, though? It reeks of the fiancé.
Yeah.
Everything, it seems like it's the fiancé. She's probably the one that selected that venue. Oh, that's amazing. And then also, do not... She's trying to have her perfect wedding at the expense of her brother-in-law. You know, she's trying to save money whilst using his brother's venue. I'd say, do you know what? Okay, cool. You've got two options here. It's either you can use the venue, but if I don't get invited, well, you're going to have to pay me cash dollars. Because now this has become a wedding venue. If you don't want to pay me, then, oh, well, I guess you need to look elsewhere. And good luck with that. That's what I would say. Because they're trying to literally use it as a wedding venue. And what do you do, wedding venues? You pay to use the facility.
That's what I was going to say. I was going to say, in all of this, okay, do you know what? They try to do reverse psychology as well, and which I don't like. Like, oh, if you could separate yourself. Absolutely not. Guys, in all of this, it is an actual venue. It's a home.
Yeah, I know.
Like, it's literally someone's home. And do you know what? You would always, or I would, the way I was brought up, or my manners, my mindset, I will always ask someone to enter their home. Like start from the absolute basic. This is someone's home. It isn't a venue. So you should have asked for permission, and also set out the terms and conditions or anything that they needed to know beforehand. And they didn't do that initially. So yeah, now here we are. This is why the problem is.
There's something wrong with the mum, though. There's something wrong with the mum.
That's why I said, you know who
where
the favourite is.
She cannot seem to see how unfair it is that you can use someone's property for your wedding but not invite them. And that's his brother. It's not his uncle. It's not a distant relative. It's his brother, your other son. And yet here you are advocating that he lets it go, that he be generous. Where's the generosity of support towards Opie? The person whose home it actually is.
The only time I see that is when they have a favourite.
I know.
I'll be honest with you. Because a child that isn't a favourite, the mum will be like, no, don't do that. But when it's a favourite, it's okay. In fact, you should be the bigger person. Oh, don't make a fuss. Like, just leave it. It's okay.
I think just because there's family pressure, it doesn't equal obligation. So you don't have to do anything. It's your home, like May and Melinda said. they didn't ask permission for someone to start planning and start renting tents and chairs and etc. It actually means that, you know, like those vendors know your address already and they're on their way. So it's now up to you whether you open your doors or not. And there's nothing wrong with you saying no. There's nothing wrong with you putting your boundaries in place because ultimately it is your home and you've put work into it. But my main issue is the fiancé.
Yeah.
From what you've said in this story, it feels like that one time you told her off, that's her problem. And she's holding a grudge. She's not letting it go. And because of that, she doesn't like you and she doesn't want you there, but she will want to use your house. And it's up to you to say no. I think your brother is really audacious to actively say to you that, you know, you should give in. To me, it's manipulative. It feels manipulative. They're twisting your words and saying that you're being this and you're being that. No, you're being manipulative and you can all go away. You don't have to come to my house and get this freebie venue with beautiful landscape that you're going to ruin and I'm probably going to have to fix, by the way, because when you have a party somewhere, where you've had a free party somewhere, you haven't had to pay or have a deposit, guess what happens? When people ruin things, what they're going to say? They're being dismissive about entering your house. How do you think they're going to be about leaving? Absolutely not.
It's so audacious. I'm just really shocked. But another thing I'm always shocked at, and I just think it's so unfair, how like parents can side with one person, not another. And just generally how families are okay with like toxic behavior that they wouldn't allow from anybody else. Like, you know, it's just wrong. If it was not your son doing it, if they said their friend was doing that to them, you would say that's not on. You would say that's unacceptable. But for the fact it's your brother, do you think so?
I'm starting to wonder if everyone's standard is the same.
Like, I'll tell you right now, Marie, it's because he must be the favourite. Or like that's why the mum's siding. If Opie said his best friend had started planning a wedding and then he told his mum, I bet you any money the mum would have been like, no, that's unacceptable, son. That's generally how it is, but it's only if it's in the family, then they're okay with it.
No, I agree. I definitely think he's the favourite. But do you know what? Even when dilemmas come in, I read dilemmas. There's a few people who are unhinged, and the main person that's telling the story seems to be the only sane person. Always. So that leads me to believe that there's something that's not connecting. And I think people do have different standards to other people. I think the people that maybe we connect with or the people that we know may not. But if you actually ask a lot of people around you, you'll find that we have different opinions on different things. Somebody said in one of the comments on Spotify that we continuously tell people to leave family members. We continuously tell people to do this and do that. It is crystal clear in this room what people should do because we've done it and we're happy with our choices. Yeah. But for some people, it's absurd that we're telling them to do such a thing because why would they? That's family. That's why I'm saying what I'm saying. What is a standard for one?
Why I gave the example. Because the reason why I gave you the example and what you're saying and what I'm saying is the same.
Yeah.
Because I said if his friend was doing what his brother was saying, the mum would say no, because with family, it's one thing, like just put up, shut up, it's whatever. But outside, those people won't have it.
Yeah, but
because it's toxic.
I agree with what you're saying, but maybe I'm not getting my point across the way. But it's like, maybe if I take away the family aspect of it, but if you have a friend and you're like, my boyfriend cheated on me, there is a friend that's going to be, you should stay. He's like, and that's what I'm talking about. And if it was them, they would stay. So that's not someone that you would necessarily take advice from because you want someone that's going to be like, babe, is this what you really want? Not necessarily tell you to leave, but someone that's going to make you question your choices so that you can see clearly. Do you get what I'm trying to say? But there doesn't seem to be anyone in here. Mummy's already ordering stuff. That's crazy.
Very.
Anyway, we have an edit. Seeing a few comments calling this fake, no one would actually try to use someone's house for a wedding and not invite them. Wish that were the case. I get it. If I wasn't the one living in it, I'd probably doubt it too. But people get weird around weddings. Entitlement goes way up. Logic goes out of the window. And suddenly you're expected to just smile and hand over your space like a venue rental with zero boundaries.
100%.
And no, I'm not leaving out some dramatic backstory. I'm not some unhinged villain brother. I show up to family stuff. I get along with everyone else. And until this wedding planning started, there wasn't even real tension. I was as surprised as anyone when I found out I wasn't on the guest list. I had to ask. Believe it or don't. I'm not here workshopping a screenplay, just genuinely trying to figure out if I'm missing something or if this is as insane as it feels. We have a top comment. Not the asshole. At this point, even if they say, okay, fine, you can attend, I'd be like, nah, bro, I'm good.
Yeah. Do you know what this reminds me of? Do you remember at the very beginning when we started, there was a story about two siblings and the grandparents had this beautiful house. When they died, the house got left to OP, the boy.
Yeah.
And then the girl, she got left money. I think it was like the equivalent. And he decided to Airbnb it as a wedding venue.
Oh,
And then he came to find out, without asking her for permission, that she was going to use that venue for
That
her
was
wedding.
double booked.
Yeah. But he'd been chasing her up saying, you know, if you want to use this venue, let me know, let me know. He didn't find out till an invitation got sent to his house. And again, it was the same thing. Everybody backed her and said, well, you know, it's the family venue. And they were like, no, it isn't. It's OP's. OP owns this house and you have an entitlement for your wedding. So he's right. Like everything OP said about just how everybody just loses their mind when it comes to weddings.
You know I've been saying this.
I don't know why. And people become so entitled and it's their right. You know, they should have access to this man's backyard. It's crazy. It's insane.
Yeah. Sorry, can I just address what Marie said about some of the feedback that we get on Spotify? No, do you know what it is? No, sorry. I have been listening. I have been listening to the dilemmas, I swear. But I just want to address it. Do you know why? Because we have boundaries. Literally, that's all it is. We're not asking and we're not expecting people to do anything crazy and stop talking to their friends, families, best friends, whoever it may be for no reason. Absolutely not. It's because we have certain boundaries that we believe should be respected and adhered to. That's all. Also, another thing I read the other day, and I think this is really good. I think I even saved it, but it said, you shouldn't take advice from people that are okay with you being hurt.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't accept advice from those that stay in relationships where people hurt them. And that speaks to the older generation, the ones that will be like, oh, your husband cheated. Oh, but, you know, these men, that's what they do. Like, and you should just sit there and have it. No.
Do you know what? I saw a TikTok.
We're not doing that.
I saw a TikTok of this woman just yesterday saying, I will never take advice from older Christian ladies about my marriage.
Absolutely.
She said, because they give the worst advice and it's always along the lines of just stay.
Yep.
And that's it.
Yep. And I think it was actually from that post that I got that I was reading through the comments. And it's true. And the thing is, a lot of these dilemmas, even like the one just read, it is everybody telling OP to just sit there and accept it, accept the hurt, accept the state of play as it is, and it's just
the lack
unfair.
of respect as well.
Yeah, there's like so many things that are wrong with it, but at the end of the day, the reason why we're always like, "Oh, leave that man, end that friendship," whatever it may be, is because we're clearly seeing in black and white, by the way, how someone is mistreating another person and we don't agree with it. It's not okay. So therefore, honestly, and another thing that I saw is the biggest flex that you can have is revoking your access to people. Okay? It's not sitting there and arguing with them. No, everybody knows what they're doing wrong. So you sat here, you played in my face, you did me dirty, you disrespected me, you disregarded me. The answer is we no longer play together. You have, and your access has been revoked.
Yeah. I see like you're being harsh and I'm just like,
Nope.
Yeah. No, but I am. Because who else is sticking up for me?
Exactly.
Who else is saying, oh, when I'm being beaten down or when certain things are hurting me and I'm having to go to therapy to talk through them, who is helping me?
Yeah.
So I am being harsh.
And
take it, swallow it, shit it out.
Exactly. And also but also you teach people how to treat you by what you allow. So, and if you don't allow someone to do you dirty, don't get me wrong, people always try it. That's just human beings, But as and when it occurs, if you don't have it, you're teaching that person, you can't do that to me. It's unacceptable and I'm not going to have it. That's it.
Nah, that's it. That's the end.
I like it.
No, I was really thinking about that one. I was really, you know what
Wait.
it is?
And
Wait, was
something
shouting.
to say.
I remembered
I've seen
it.
stuff like that,
remembered
you're
it because
right.
it was like you're always telling people, and I was like, do you know
No.
what? Yes, I am always telling people,
Absolutely.
but guess what? My opinion is not fact. You don't have
Yeah.
to follow it. You don't have to do it.
Yeah.
But what I will say, I've lived better.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
I've lived better since.
Has your life not been peaceful without certain people around or allowing certain things? Absolutely.
I have less conversations where I am upset.
Exactly.
So, if you want to keep that wheel going, carry on. Who am I to stop you?
Less upset, less stress, like less headaches. I'm choosing peace and happiness always.
I agree with Melinda and Marie. Okay, my story comes from Pro Revenge. My ex-mother-in-law sent her church friends to harass my daughters and I. I have now exposed her family to her church community and she's getting shamed and shunned at church.
Here. Mm-hmm.
My 46 female daughters, 17 and 15, have a strained relationship with my ex-husband's parents, 78 male and 80 female. My ex passed away in an accident last year, and we've had some major family drama since due to his cheating and him leaving 2 boys born with his affair partner orphaned. She also died. Part of the drama has been my ex-in-laws trying to get custody of my daughters and them also trying to live with us. First one, we're going to court over, and the second one will never happen. Where we live, there's a weekend market with fresh produce, eggs, meats, and other products straight from farmers. This week was extra special because it was my youngest's birthday. Since her party is later in the month, I decided to give her a budget and set her loose on the market to get whatever she wanted, mostly chocolate and sweets. After an hour, I did start getting worried, and just before I called her, she called me. She was crying, saying some weird people have cornered her. I ran to her with my oldest daughter to find 6 older women berating my daughter for being unchristian, for refusing to spend time with her paternal grandparents, or for not wanting to be a good big sister to her poor orphaned baby brothers.
What?
My daughters are the ones that found out about my ex cheating and the babies, so they aren't fond of the kids. It was traumatic for them, and they are working with a therapist. I got between the group and my daughter, telling my oldest to go pay for the stuff her sister had and to go to the car. Then I turned to the women, some who I knew from when we went to my ex-in-law's church, and ripped them a new one. They told me I was the worst for refusing to obey my ex-in-laws like a good Christian wife. Boff. Eventually, the screaming turned too loud and we were all asked to leave the market. I met with my girls in the car and the women followed me like a group of vultures. I managed to get in the car and drove away. After my girls went to bed, I got online to talk to another member of that church that I'm on good terms with. I told him about what happened, and after he apologized, he told me what was going on. My ex-mother-in-law posted this massive story in the church's Facebook group about how terrible my daughters and I are, how we are leaving them homeless and penniless. They inherited my ex's personal bank account and his life insurance, and how my daughters don't even talk to them. She also accused us of being the reasons she lost her grandsons. The boys are now living with distant relatives of my ex-husband. Basically, it was a sob story worthy of a Hallmark movie. And of course, they were getting all the love and support from the most extremist members of their church. This church and its members are a bit annoying, especially with LGBTQ+ topics, but they have a small saving grace. They are incredibly strict about cheating. It's a big no-no, be it from a husband or a wife equally. Now, how does she get around blaming me about affair children without exposing the cheating? She claimed the other woman was our surrogate, since I was unable to have more children, then said I didn't want the babies because they were boys, which is absolutely disgusting to be accused of. Well, I decided it was time to clean up this mess. And since I was mid-divorce when my ex died, I had all the evidence I needed. And since the divorce wasn't completed, I don't have any legal ramification for releasing all the evidence. I was off the next day and went to a print shop to get copies of all the delightful pictures of my ex cheating, his text conversations with his affair partner, the ones with his parents confessing to his cheating and getting support from them, my ex-in-laws harassing me about the divorce, and my coup de grace, all the emails and text messages of them bullying my daughters about their baby brothers. In one of them, they call my daughters bastards and tell them it was their fault their father died, since they told me about the affair and I began the divorce. This one was literally 2 days after my ex died. I paid extra for all of this to be printed in beautiful, high-quality paper. Then when I got home, I sat down for hours to make delightfully personalised binders. They look like the little prayer song packets the church give for everyone to take to sing hymns. The first picture when opening the binders is my ex and his side woman making out in our living room. Their faces are easy to discern and the girl looks nothing like me. Different skin tones and a hair colour. Underneath I wrote, ex-husband's name and affair girl's name, love story. I took them to church before the service. There's a book in the back with the songbooks for people that need or forget their own, and they never check them. The gossip mill was quick and harsh. The names my ex and his affair partner got called in the Facebook group was so bad that the pastor himself had to get involved just to keep things relatively PG-13. People were angry at my ex-in-laws for their abuse of my daughters, but what made me laugh was that I was still somehow in the wrong for the divorce. But it was understandable that I failed on my duties after the shock, and I possibly will one day return to the light, unlike my cheating husband and his Jezebel. They used another word I can't use here, I imagine. I got 2 apology letters in the mail for my girls and an invitation to join the church for support. As for my in-laws, they got shamed into leaving the church.
Oh.
My ex-mother-in-law made a post on her wall about how alienated she feels and how no one cares for the elderly anymore, how she wished her great son was still alive since he would have been able to take care of her and her husband. With what money? I don't know, since I was the breadwinner.
I thought they inherited all of his personal money as well as his life insurance.
Clearly.
Yeah. Oh God, this is crazy. But OP is a real G. Well done, OP. Well played. This I think it's so crazy. But again, what do we come to? Mums and their sons. Different rules, different allowances. It's just okay. It's always okay. Their word against yours. But let's go back to the very beginning. How are big adults, I think 78 is what they
And
said, 80 bullying children? How is everyone okay with it? So first of all, I would need to ask the grandparents and then the 6 ladies that bullied the little girl as she was going to get her chocolates and her sweets.
A 15-year-old.
How is that okay? Like, and also, why is everyone up in everybody's business? I'm telling you right now, things are not okay in most people's homes, yeah? Concern yourself with your own life and your own business and stop bullying children and parents of which you know nothing about their story, nothing about what's going on at home, regardless of what you're being told on Facebook and whatever it may be. Stay out of people's business. But the whole bullying the kids, I think that is disgusting. And you know what? I just really hate the mindset where it's such old school as well. Just have it. Like, these people will really have you and have women accepting really bad situations. Like these 2 affair kids, the sons, should now live with OP. Pardon? That man cheated and he created not 1, but 2 kids. But you should be the good Christian woman and look after them. And you should take up and like just accept everything he's done you wrong. Ignore that and crack on. There's like so many things wrong with that situation. But anyway, long and short, OP, well done. continue what you're doing, but what you now need to do is block everyone, because you don't need to go back and forth with anyone. You know the real story. Everyone now knows the real story as well with your binders. Well done for that one. You had a lot of time. Just leave it. Like, your children are clear in terms of their relationship with their grandparents. They don't want much to do with them. You don't need to, I don't know, like, you don't need to say anything more. Just leave it. Otherwise, this drama will continue for like a long, long, long time. And you don't need to do that. Like, just say, look, please, let's draw a line underneath it and block everybody.
Yeah, I agree. I think the grandparents are audacious, but they're audacious because they're backed by the church. Well, at least they were.
I'm glad they're
and
not.
now that they're not, I'm so glad that you shone a light on their really toxic personalities. And if their son was so great, why didn't he left them with something? So carry on. Like, it doesn't seem like he's left them broke, because they have the insurance and because they have access to his account, which means at least for a little while the kids can be looked after. And the kids are not even with them. They said that it's with their
Distant relative.
So you've lost them probably because of your age. It probably no, it is.
It's true. 78 is old.
78
Yeah,
is
it's true.
old.
It is
Probably
old.
because of the age,
Yeah.
and probably because they had other members of other family members alive that were younger and could take care of them financially.
Yeah.
The state would always, any state that you live in, will always place kids in a home that is better for them. So I don't really know what they're complaining about. That's got nothing to do with anything. Like, you're way too old. Go and visit your grandchildren rather than try and stick them with people that you know at the moment won't be able to accept them. And I'm talking about the kids, because she said that the kids don't favour them at the moment. And with age, that should change if there's like an introduction to have a better relationship, I would say. But apart from that, yeah, just leave everything alone. It's got nothing to do with you now.
Yeah. Do you know what? Well done, OP.
Yeah,
Like,
I
you
think she done
she did
brilliant.
so good with this
Fair
like
time.
little revenge plan. I thought it was brilliant.
High
And
quality paper,
Oh.
binders.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Just beautiful. But also, the problem that I really have with the grandparents is just the amount of lies in order to
Yeah.
elicit sympathy. Because the lying about, like, saying OP couldn't have more kids, is that true? Is that not? Even if it's OP's business, and then making up the lie that she doesn't want boys. Like, there was too many lies. Like, not even saying, these mysterious new boys, where they actually came from, and that I'm gonna guess that the affair partner was in the car when the car
'cause she
accident
died as well.
happened, right? There was just too many lies, and it was all so that they could keep the good grace of the church going and elicit sympathy at the same time.
But this hate campaign that they were on, where did it land them? Look at them, at a loss.
It left them exactly where they should be.
I
In
think
the
so.
bin.
I know, but now they've got no access to any of their perfect son's kids. Do you know that?
Yeah, ramifications of
None.
their actions.
Like, literally none. So
Yeah.
it's like, all of that for what?
To save their son.
But also, do you know what? What's also been revealed more than
bad.
anything is just like, they're actually evil, because to go and tell two teenage girls that they're the reason that their dad is dead,
That's
that is
bad.
insane behavior. And that's just, it's such a traumatic thing to go and tell impressionable people, you're the reason your dad's dead. You're the reason that his affair partner's dead. You're the reason your parents are getting divorced, because you found out that he was cheating and that he has kids outside the marriage. Do you know how
Yeah.
bad that is?
There are certain things that live with you, and you won't know it until you get older sometimes. And then you really assess why you feel and why you react a certain type of way. But it's always, everything stems from childhood. And the grandparents, what they did has really caused childhood trauma.
Nasty
And
work.
hopefully their mum will, I don't know, maybe help them seek
Well,
counsel.
They're in therapy,
and-
thank God.
Yeah. So hopefully that works. But that didn't need to happen. Do you know what I mean? Like, the circumstances with which their dad even left that marriage was bad enough. And then his death, obviously that's traumatic as well. But it's like, everything thereafter didn't need to happen. And now you've done that, and it's just like, wow, these kids are hurt even more.
But do you know what? They
If
obviously...
this was for the sake of the kids, you failed.
No, but they've obviously hated the 2 granddaughters ever since they're the ones that outed the affair.
Yeah.
And then when the father died, that was then another reason for them to go at the 2 granddaughters. And that's just so crazy to me. Like, they're too old for half the shit that they did.
But
But
not
that's
you,
normal.
not them wanting, blaming everything on the children, but also wanting to live with them. Which one
Wanted
is
to
it?
get custody of these girls that you've painted to be evil people.
But that's why
No,
I
but
asked, what
remember
was the point?
The second thing that you mentioned
And
was
wanted to live
to-
with
the-
OP.
That's what
Can you imagine?
You killed my son. Can I live with you?
I don't
What?
get
Oh,
it.
I'm penniless and homeless, by the way.
No,
Oh,
maybe
God.
they've got
Nah.
early onset dementia or something. Maybe like, something
Nah.
has occurred because this situation, pardon me, doesn't make sense.
They're bad people. That's what I know. But anyway, we have an edit.
Oh.
Explanation on the will. My ex-husband had a will that named his parents as beneficiaries. As far as I was aware, he had told them he had named our daughters, not them. I never pushed for me to be the beneficiary, as my own will has my daughters as the beneficiaries, not him. Top comment. Hitting religious zealots with proof of hypocrisy is always hilarious. The others will immediately exile them as the public Christian image is too important.
Okay, so this dilemma is from Truth Off My Chest. My childhood friend scammed me, so I ruined her relationship. We did 1st and 2nd grade, 2007, together, and then I left the country and we reconnected in 2017 through Messenger. We talked romantically, but it instantly got toxic since it was a long distance, so I ended it. At the beginning of 2021, I visited my home country to attend a wedding. Once I landed in the city, I hit her up. She doesn't believe me and tells me to come over, so I went to her apartment complex. We hang out at the indoor park, talked about our childhood, and she mentioned she had a boyfriend she was getting married to, so I never made a move. We go for a walk and I tell her I want to go to a currency exchange office because I was carrying USD and they were all closed, so we headed back to her apartment. It was already too late, so I told her I had to go. Before leaving, since this was during COVID, all places had tight visiting hours. So she told me we had to bribe the doorman or he will cause her problems with management. I only had 20s and 100s and she knew that and told him, since I didn't have change, she offered to take a bill and go up to her place and get me some change. I gave her a 20 bill and waited for her. I wait and she doesn't come down, so I text her and nothing. So I go to the doorman and tell him what's going on. And he tells me there's no issues with visiting hours. At this time, it's 11 p.m. Then she comes out of the balcony and tells me those $20 are not going to make me rich and neither will make you poor, and to get the hell out of there. I was fuming on my way home, not because of the money, but because I was lied to, stolen from, and abandoned. I felt very disrespected, so I wanted to teach her a lesson. I scrolled through her followers on Instagram to try and find her boyfriend. FBI mode was on, and I found him right before she blocked me. I screenshotted our conversations of her inviting me over and sent them to her boyfriend, telling him she's cheating and I didn't know she had a boyfriend. He called to explain and he was convinced. He went to the apartment to check the cameras and saw me there, which had made my story believable. She unblocks me and explodes on me through texts, insulting my existence, and I just acted nonchalant, telling her to stop denying the truth. The guy keeps texting me and suddenly asks me, "Did you give her $20? I told him yes. For the good service, laugh out loud. And he tells me she took me to get ice cream with that money, laugh out loud.
Wow. I don't like it. I don't like this one.
Wait, that was the end?
Yeah.
That was
Oh,
literally
okay.
it, yeah. Very petty.
It
Yeah, I don't
was
like
like, but she, I don't know, what country are they in that she's scamming $20? $20 isn't a lot of money.
I mean,
And
it's
standing
you-
on the balcony like some Disney
I
villain.
know, and making up
Crazy
this
girl.
like COVID restriction, making up an elaborate story to steal $20.
I would have taken the hundreds.
Yeah, she should have made out that it was like, not us, do you know what? Not us teaching you how to scam better. Actually, let's be better human beings. But it,
I genuinely don't like it because it just feels like you've just caused more drama. This is not something that I would congratulate you on. This is not something I'll be like, good on you. It's petty as hell. And you've ruined someone's relationship over what? $20.
But she's not a good person. So actually, let me tell you something. I'm here with OP. I stand with OP. I think job well done. It's not like for like. I can't lie. It's not. It's not apples. It's not an apple for an apple. It very much is apple for oranges. But I just think she's a bad person. So, oh well.
The only thing he did here was confuse nostalgia for like they were going to be friends or whatever. Just because you were friends before doesn't mean that that person that stands in front of you today is a good person. But yeah, I don't agree with any part of this story. Sorry. It's not for me.
It's not that I agree with it, but I can understand it and I can find empathy.
I think it's just ridiculous.
It is. Do you know what? It really is. But I think she's fundamentally not a good person, though.
She is, but he's now, OP has destroyed a whole engagement. They're engaged, by the way, remember? She's going to be married to this man. So
good person or not, does she deserve that?
Yeah, I think that's a lot. But at the same
I don't know,
time,
but then why are you stealing from like childhood friends? Sorry, she's not a good person. And if that means that her relationship ends, I am not mad at it. I know it's an extreme reaction. I do get that. And I do understand that it is petty. Yeah. But I'm telling you, she's not a good person. So why should she have good things?
I hear that. I don't know. I just think it's ridiculous. I think in these kind of situations, you just like take the L and block them. That's it.
No, but you need to expose her as well.
Well, he kind of did that.
And I like that for him.
Fair enough. Anyway, we have a top comment. How did she think optics were going to look by inviting another man, in brackets OP, and basically taking his $20 while her actual boyfriend wasn't there? Of course, the boyfriend's going to assume she cheated, especially since OP was technically a long-distance ex. The optics were never going to look good for her, especially with texts and money.
So what I hear from this top commenter is that he's May.
Yeah, because
May reincarnated into another person. Get out of here, man.
I think top comments on OP's side, and it's okay.
Yeah.
But it's like she threw away her whole relationship for $20.
Basically.
It's true.
It is.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
Okay, so mine is from Am I the Arsehole? Am I the arsehole for being brutally honest to my wife about cheating? So this happened over the past weekend. We were at a party with friends and this question popped up. We essentially had a small never had I ever game, which is pretty childish looking back, but we're all in our late 20s, so it isn't that bad. One of the questions was, never have I ever forgiven a partner for cheating. A few people counted that as something they did, including my wife. I expressed my surprise about it. I expressed my surprise about it since I wouldn't expect her, of all people, to give someone a chance after cheating. Other than that, the night went on fine and I was driving us home. I don't drink. I hate alcohol. I asked her about the whole situation and forgiving a partner for cheating. In her words, her ex-boyfriend of so many years ago cheated on her. He came clean about it and they tried again, and then he went and did it again in the same manner. She said she didn't regret giving him a second chance and would do the same if I happened to cheat.
Oh, that was a setup.
I figured this is just her being drunk. I have no intention of cheating on her. In absence of any answer from me, she asks if I'd do the same for her. I wouldn't be able to forgive cheating, nor would I ever expect to be forgiven for cheating if somehow I ended up doing it. Short of physical abuse or any other heinous acts, it's the worst thing you can do to someone you love. I don't know what happened to her after that, but she stopped talking the rest of the car ride. Ever since then, she's been dead silent around me. She isn't her usual bubbly self and is withdrawn when I have conversations with her. She avoids any questions about what happened on Saturday night too. I asked our mutual friends about any context I may have missed, and a few of them said that she must have taken it a bit too hard. As in, me not being able to forgive her for hypothetical cheating means I don't love her as much as she loves me. Her two oldest friends kind of implied that I shouldn't have been so blunt about it.
Sometimes I think everything really boils down to play silly games, win silly prizes.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't get upset about hypotheticals. And also
Yeah.
just don't play these hypothetical. I think it's so childish. Like, let's just deal with real life. It didn't happen. So therefore, what are you upset about? That's what sometimes I feel like shaking people. Even, what was it, earlier this morning, it wasn't a disagreement with Melinda, but we had a conversation and she was about to get upset over something she thought I said. And I said, let's not have an argument about what didn't happen. And so I'm saying the same thing to OP's wife. Why are you being upset about something that didn't happen?
I don't remember what she's talking about, so please take me out of your storyline. And then I think this whole dilemma is ridiculous. Like me and my friends, I've got this one particular friend, and she's like, she just does, it gets her mad. She doesn't understand how people can have whole debates and just arguments about hypotheticals, especially guys. Oh, would you have it? Da, da, da. And it's just like, I'm in total agreement with her. Why are you getting mad over a hypothetical? This game, that evening that OP and his wife went to, just exposed or helped them have a conversation and be clear on where each person stands. That's it. There's no need to now stop talking to each other, being silent around another. Like, what? I think this is really ridiculous. This is really strange. But what you should do is just communicate. Ask her, like, is everything okay?
I think this just feels like an emotional mismatch, I would say. Like, what love looks like to her, it doesn't match what love looks like to you. And you just have to have a conversation with her and say you do love her, but you have boundaries on cheating. But you were very clear on where those boundaries lie. That they're two ways. That it's a two-way street. So it's vice versa. I don't expect to cheat on you, and I don't expect you to cheat on me. I wouldn't expect you to forgive me, and I wouldn't expect you to forgive me. Those are my boundaries. And I just feel like maybe you just need to reinforce, since it's an issue now, that you do love her, but what your boundaries are. And that's it.
Yeah, I agree. A simple conversation will
Literally
tackle this.
And if it doesn't fix
non-issue,
it, then it's very stupid.
Yeah, that's what I'm like. I just think it's really silly. But yeah, as I said, have a conversation, because I think it's strange for your wife to be giving you silent treatment.
But it's also giving as if like she's cheated and like now she's upset about what would happen should it come out. That's the only alternative. But
No, she's just upset that, actually, it could also be that she's like, well, I would let you cheat on me. Why wouldn't you cheat on, why wouldn't you let me cheat on you?
and that's childish.
And it's just like, bro, that's not how the world works. It's just different people have different boundaries. Just
Also,
respect it and move on.
But also, I wonder, like, how did you get here? How did you get married without knowing what his definition of cheating was? I think people really need to have these conversations before they commit long term, like marriage. You should be able to communicate with your person. You know, what's cheating to you? What's the definition? What does cheating look like? You know, you need to have these conversations. You're telling me all now they didn't have this conversation, but post marriage they're finally having this conversation. That's
People don't converse about
that's
these things.
strange, and they need to.
Yeah.
And this
You
is
like-
fundamentally the problem. I feel like a lot of people do you know what? There are a lot of questions that I think a lot of people need to ask each other before they get married. So obviously cheating definitions and what that actually looks like. You know, what does the definition of a husband look like to you? What is the definition of a wife? What performatively, what does that actually look like? You know, you need to ask, what does child rearing mean to you? What do the responsibilities look like? You need to ask, you know, what does it look like? My parents get old. Can I move them in? Are they going there? Like, you need to have these big and uncomfortable conversations so that you don't end up in situations like this, where you're finding that there's now a hostile environment in your home over a hypothetical conversation.
Girl, I agree. I'm not. There are no surprises about
it's
who
so
people
strange.
are. Yeah, it's very strange
it's
because
so
I wouldn't.
odd.
I wouldn't have these conversations now. It's one thing if you find out, I don't know, where your friends or your husband's political views, which is something that you might not have a conversation about. That's something you might not have a conversation about. But cheating
In the UK, not the US, it seems to be a really big.
Politics
It's a
is-
deal
Yeah, yeah,
breaker in the
yeah.
US.
So I'm just but when the now president went into play, a lot of people broke up with their partners. It
Yeah,
was,
yeah.
So it's not a conversation that people have. People don't have these conversations.
Yeah.
That's what this tells me. It tells me that people don't have conversations. Just get together, feels good, we're getting married. No,
Feels good.
don't you think? It feels like that. Feels like that's what's happening. To be honest, it feels good. I've never felt like this before, and off we go.
I know, but then do you know what? Having these conversations would really help to eliminate the divorce rates that we have just generally worldwide. I feel like if we understood each other more, understood each other's perspectives more, if we knew exactly
for president.
No, but think about it. If we knew exactly who we were getting into partnership with, I'm telling you right now, the divorce rates would be lower. The marriages would be longer. I'm telling you, the relationships would be stronger. Like
Guys,
that
do you
was
know-
perfect rhyming.
Wait a sec.
Listen, but seriously, I know that I'm correct because there's this exercise that a lot of people do before they get into a relationship. The New York Times, this is a few years back, they went and printed, I think it was 40 questions that you should ask your partner just in order to deepen the connection. And you can literally ask it on the first date. It's brilliant questions, but it gets you to really understand and get under the skin of the person that you could potentially want to do life with. And I feel like some of the questions are not being asked before people get engaged, before they get married, before they even have kids with this person. And then this person is forever in their life.
Yeah, but you're saying that as an experienced individual, older, and
Take
that's
time.
just not. No, I'm not saying like you're old, like you're in your 50s. Absolutely not. But because you're I don't know, because you've learned from your experiences and you read, you've heard, you've seen stuff, like whether it's fictional or, actually reality, all of that. But at the same time, when you're in it, guys, we all know that's it. Like a lot of things that should make sense no longer do because you're leading with and from your emotions. You're biased when you say all of this stuff because you're not in a relationship right now, it's easy to say the stuff that you would have, wouldn't have, what people should consider.
You shouldn't expose my marital status.
Like you don't every episode.
Exactly. Oh, but because I'm single.
She just wants to have an argument today. Go on.
I'm telling you right now, it's easy to tell people what they shoulda, coulda, woulda done when you're not in it.
Yeah,
you
you're right.
know that.
No,
You
you're
know
right. You're
that.
right.
So anyway, back to the dilemma. Just talk to your partner, literally, and find out what's wrong, and then make sure you're on the same page.
Yeah,
Done.
I agree. But I also want to add a point to what May said.
Sure.
The reason also we don't get there is because women yapper too much. You know what we do when we meet someone? I love flowers. I love it when a man does this. I love it. We give them the script and then they perform. And then guess what? You get married and everyone drops the ball.
That's why
And
I
now
don't,
we're
I don't
trapped.
do that. That's why
So
I don't
you
answer
see,
certain questions.
one piece of advice I've got,
Don't do it.
if a man says, "Would you like?" I like what I like. Should
Yeah,
be your answer. I like what I like.
yeah.
Let's see how it goes. Vague answers.
Always.
We'll just watch how we go. We'll watch each other's interactions. I'll see what you do and I'll see if I like it. And if I don't, I'm out. And instead of me telling you everything I like, so you can note it down and trap me with the script I've given you.
Yeah.
And then what happens? 5 years down the line, I've got a baby. And I don't even know who I've married.
No, absolutely. When I've been on dates and I've been asked, "Oh, what's your type and what are you looking for?" I always say, "I know.
I'll
And then
know
they
it
always-
when I see it.
Yeah,
I know it when I see it.
Yeah, I say, oh, I already know. I'll know it when I see it.
Yeah.
Oh, you just know. And then people always like, oh, but what do you mean? And I'm like, I know. Like,
Just
I
like-
don't need to tell you so that you
Exactly.
can now perform it, so that you can now pretend to be this person.
Yep.
We don't need to do that. And I tell people, just be yourself. I'll be myself. Either we're compatible or we're not. But what I'm not going to do is tell you to, I don't know, that I like movies, and then you do all of this stuff that you can't keep up.
Mm-hmm.
So let's not do that. Let's not disappoint each other, and let's not pretend and play. Don't give it away, girls and guys as well, because there were guys that listen. Don't. Just tell people to be themselves. Either you're a match or you're not.
Exactly. The script. Take it away.
Remove it.
Thank you. So top comment. Not the arsehole. She's conflating your personal boundaries with love for her. But personal boundaries and deal breakers are about self-love, not love for another. Not everyone has the same boundaries, and that is always more about the person themselves than other people.
Okay, my story comes from Pro Revenge. Oh, I played the long game. 7 years ago, I was lucky enough to be able to buy my own place. I had saved for 10 years, worked my arse off, and I was so happy to be able to call a place my own. Now, being a single person on the mortgage meant I had to make compromises. One such compromise was buying a property on a shared block, a lot cheaper. Where I'm from, this usually means it's on a strata title. For some, that's a bonus, as it means there's a communal fund for repairs. Typically, insurance is cheaper as it's collective, and other things like maintenance being taken care of. Strata titles also come with a lot of bylaws and restrictions on what you can and can't do. I'm a pretty private and introverted person, so having to deal with people and have limits on how I live was a no-no. I took my time and found the perfect property. Shared block, but freehold title. Only thing was that I needed to pay public liability insurance for the shared walkway on the property, split equally between owners. The real estate agent is local to my area. There's also about 3 degrees of separation between us. He has friends who are friends with my friends type of thing. Didn't know him, but knew of him, so that sort of felt good too. I asked for a copy of the policy so I have a record. It gets sent through, and lo and behold, is for strata insurance. I was incredibly confused, and after much back and forth, the property isn't a freehold title, but a strata title. I called my lawyer who conveyed the title, etc. He was dumbfounded, but overall did the right thing and made things as right as they could be. I arranged for a meeting with a real estate agent. I brought emails and printouts of the ads they had, all saying it was freehold. Emails between the real estate agent and my lawyer discussing its freehold status. And despite it being in black and white, he refused to accept any fault or offer anything to make things right. I don't begrudge that. He's looking out for himself. I get that. However, I wouldn't forget it. I did enter into mediation with the real estate agent, which I refused. I had the option to pursue them legally and was advised by the mediator to do so, but ultimately I decided against it for a few reasons, the main one being my health at the time. So, I planned and plotted, and I schemed and connived as to how to get back at this son of a bitch, and I settled on this. I found his personal Facebook page, which wasn't set to private, saw some photos of a boys on trip tour he went on a few weeks prior, so about 5-6 months after I bought the property. I also found his address through a business registration search. On the anniversary of the sale, for 6 years straight, I sent them flowers with a note. The note said, "Dear real estate agent, remembering you on this, our special day, she has your eyes, love L." They varied ever so slightly over the years, but always had, on this, our special day, and some weird inference to a love child and a desire to reconnect. I also, from time to time, arranged for postcards and letters to be sent from another country, the one he was on tour in, and always signed Love L. I learned about 3 weeks ago that this guy had recently divorced, lost his home, and is no longer working as a real estate agent. His wife had found out he cheated on her. The story I was told through some friends of friends went along the lines of, he would get weird gifts and flowers every year, same day, every year. She, his wife, finally put two and two together and realized what the date was, and he admitted to cheating on her. Now, I didn't mean for this to happen, but it turns out a year before I bought my house, he had gone on holiday, came back with an STD, gave it to his wife, but somehow convinced her that it wasn't him. As such, our special day turned out to be right about the time he would have been balls deep, sans condom, in someone who wasn't his wife only 1 year earlier. He's apparently lost his house, half his retirement savings, and also his business. I do feel a little guilty about it sometimes, but then I'm reminded that he's a scumbag and that karma, like me, is a patient, spiteful, and vengeful bitch.
Wow. This story is right up May's alley.
It's true. She loves a revenge story.
Wow. Do you know what? It turned out that it was true, but if it wasn't, listen, that karma was coming for you, B. I'm telling you from now. But yeah, good on you, I guess.
Yeah, he played the long game. He was the catalyst.
6 years, you know. People have time.
The catalyst that ended the marriage. I don't know. I do love a good revenge story. I'm not going to lie. It's not necessarily something I would do because I don't have the patience. I wish I had the patience, but I really don't. But all's well that ends well.
I really like this because I like focused people. This was good.
Yeah.
This was good. This was focused. This was intentional. And also, do you know what? See this real estate agent, I'm sure you're not the first person that he screwed over. And so, do you know what? Maybe it really was karma. Maybe it was a long time coming. Maybe this is just how he is. He just doesn't care about anyone else as long as he makes that commission. And so I think you did the right thing. I mean, I think personally you did the right thing by his wife. Like, he's clearly a cheater. Having convinced her that the STD didn't come from him, that's crazy. No one can convince me of that. But anyway, I think job well done, OP. Yeah. You did the Lord's work.
Okay, so we're now into the submissions corner. So my submission is, being a good guy doesn't pay. Women often say they want a good guy, someone who treats them right, is loyal, and provides for them. But once they have that, they seem to desire the excitement of a bad guy instead. I met this lady and we were friends for a long time. After about 2 years, we decided to start dating. I gave her my time, attention, financial support, making sure she never lacked anything. For the 9 months we were together, we communicated every day. I helped her with her studies, sent her money monthly, sometimes even twice a month without her asking, and bought her things just because she mentioned them. I even sent her money so she could take her friends to the cinema because I didn't want her to be bored. At times, I went as far as covering personal expenses like new clothes and essentials. Looking back, maybe I was doing too much, but I just wanted to take care of my woman. Then she started acting differently, making excuses, being distant. Even when we talked, she was constantly chatting with someone else, laughing. It became clear she was seeing someone else. The worst part, this was the second time she had cheated in just 7 months. The guy she cheated with gave her an infection and later dumped her. She came back begging, and I, being a guy that I am, helped her to get it treated. But a month later, she ran back to him. Meanwhile, I had other women in my DMs who wanted to be with me, but I never cheated. I have principles and I stuck to them. But in the end, I realised I had been played. The final blow came when her friend told me he met the guy she cheated with on TikTok, and the guy openly admitted he was only with her for sex and because he didn't want to be alone. That's when it hit me. I had been too nice. Some people don't appreciate kindness. They take advantage of it. Sometimes you have to care less to truly see people's intentions.
Don't take this and run with it and use this as a reason why you shouldn't be a nice guy to a future woman. The same way us women, we have to take it on the chin, and going forward, we have to appear in different relationships like it's a new person. Obviously, take on the lessons and carry those lessons with you, but do not treat the next person badly because the ex treated you badly, is what I would say. So, yeah, sometimes nice people don't win, but it doesn't mean in the long run you don't. Just keep trying. You'll meet someone that really appreciates you for who you are, will love you back, and you'll get everything in that person.
I'm really sorry, Opie, that you
Yeah.
experienced this. Like, that's really unfair to you. And it sounds like you treated her really well. So, just to echo what Marie said, I really hope that this experience doesn't negatively taint your view of women.
It has. It has.
And yeah, okay, cool. Then I just really hope that it doesn't change your character fundamentally as a person.
Yeah.
Because I get that, yeah, people are going to treat you well and they're going to treat you badly. That's just how life works. But I don't want her to be like the standard for women. Most women are better than that. Like, they really are. Yeah, again, sorry, OP. That's all I've got.
Take the lesson, not the hurt.
Yeah.
Don't take that hurt out on the rest of the world, because from what I know of, generalizing here, and I want to state that, men, when they've been cheated on, take it out on the rest of the world. Whereas generally women, we process it and then get back on the horse again. So try not to then take it out on the rest of the world and generalize that all women are bad, etc. Take the time needed to get over it and get back on the horse. We're not all like that. And we don't all want bad boys.
Yeah, I don't like a bad boy.
I never have.
Not once. Not once in my life did I desire someone with a criminal record.
Bad boys isn't just criminals.
Well.
So my submission is, I'm still feeling very sad and heartbroken. My husband and I have been married for 3 years now. We were actually childhood sweethearts. I recently moved to join him in the US. Last year, before my visa came out, he visited me in Nigeria. While he was here, I came across some chats between him and his baby mama. They were talking about backstrokes and how much she enjoyed their last time together. This is the same baby mama he had always claimed he barely spoke to, except when it concerned his daughter. I confronted him about the messages, but he brushed it off and said it wasn't what I thought. Now that I'm here in the US, I recently received a message on Facebook Messenger, an invitation to a baby shower with my husband's name boldly written on it. I was shocked. When I confronted him again, he finally admitted to it, saying it was just a short-term fling. I feel so heartbroken and confused. He's been apologizing nonstop, begging me to not give up on our marriage, saying he doesn't want to lose me, but I don't know what to do. I'm hurt and I'm overwhelmed.
So wait, so he cheated with 2 women that she knows of?
No, just the one. The baby mama.
He claimed there was nothing there, but now she's pregnant. She's having a baby shower.
Oh, it's with the same baby mother?
Yeah.
Because that wasn't clear.
No, it wasn't, but I'm assuming, yeah.
So
no,
he's about
it
to have-
sounded like he's got another woman. He said that was a short fling, but
Oh, yeah,
he's not.
maybe, yeah.
That's 2 women.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, well, yeah,
that's
he's
2
got
women.
another baby mama.
It's the babe. No, it's
not
the
OP's. Either way, it's
yeah,
not
no,
OP's baby
I know,
shower.
but I was just clarifying. Like that's
Okay.
her. That's 2 women that she knows of now
Yeah.
that he's cheated on her with.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, the baby mother, and then this
Yeah,
woman that's pregnant. They're not the same
backstrokes,
people.
my dear.
No, am I wrong?
And she weren't talking about swimming.
To be honest, I feel like it's still the baby mother, even though it's not clear. But
don't know.
I'll accept this part of the
Yeah.
story.
Because he said it was a short fling. I don't think that you would say that about your previous baby mother. It sounds like a new person. Personally,
Well, if
maybe
you
I
can
got
say it is not what you think it is, just something in black and white, talking about backstrokes and not talking about swimming, I think he can say that even if it's about his baby mother.
okay, cool. Anyway, he cheated. OP, obviously, you know what to do. Get that divorce. He can't be trusted.
Okay, so that is an answer. But I would say if you are going to stay, then you just need to look at what does life look like for you going forward. The tone of this submission doesn't sound like someone that's going to leave. I'm going to be honest. I feel like you need to feel the feelings. I feel like you need to go through the motions. Give yourself time. If you can, speak to someone that's going to be impartial. Speak to someone that's going to ask you the right questions, help guide you, pray about it, what you need to do. I personally would think leave, but my opinion, again, isn't fact. Like I said, exit strat is always my option. I think get out while you can. It's always the best option for peace. But if you are going to stay, then you need to look at the steps of what that looks like for you and for your marriage. And you need to look at what the future would look like, how the trust will be built back up, and if you're willing to accept it. And that's all I've got to say.
The thing that I do want to ask though is it says, I feel so broken and confused. What would you be confused about, Opie?
What to do next?
Exactly.
There's no confusion here. He's broken her
Trust.
He's broken her trust.
Has broken her trust.
Broken their marriage vows. He's lied to you. He's like, obviously he must have created some stories in order to excuse like what that he was away when he was cheating. Like I think there shouldn't be
she was in Nigeria. She was in Nigeria when he was cheating.
Oh, okay. So he had the perfect cover. And I'm sure they spoke that night and he said that he was doing like there was deliberate and intentional cheating and lying in order to cover his tracks. I don't think that you should be confused. I think what you should do is don't listen to his words. Listen to his actions. Look at what he did and then make a plan going forward based on his actions alone. Because if you listen to his words, all they'll do is get you right back to the same position that you're currently in with no change on his part at all. I mean, there's no reason to change, is there, if things stay the same? Think about it. There's no incentive for him to change. So my thing is just please don't listen to your husband's words because a cheater is always going to excuse it. He's always going to apologize. That's just what they do. So just what are you going to do based on the actions that you know he has taken whilst being married to you?
Mm-hmm.
So my response is, and I want to be clear, leave that man. And the reason why I say that is I want all women to start asking themselves, what would a man do in my situation?
Yeah.
And if you love yourself and value your self-worth, you would understand and do the same as men, which would be to leave. Most men have a lot of self-worth and that's why they would never put up with certain things, such as their wife having a baby outside of their marriage.
Thank you.
That's what your husband wants you to accept. Your husband wants you to sit there, accept that what you saw initially with his baby mother is not what it was, them candidly talking about cheating. And then now he wants you to accept and play stepmother to a new baby he had outside of your marriage.
Yeah, ask yourself, would your husband accept you and continue the relationship if you came to him or he found out through a Facebook message, just like you did, that you were pregnant with another man's baby?
He wouldn't. And you know why he was able to do all of that? Because he thinks you would have it. And lo and behold, you're here and you've submitted that dilemma because you don't know whether to have it or not. He doesn't fear you or fear the ruin and the end of your marriage. Because if he did, he wouldn't do that. He wouldn't. He would not have evidence. I'm telling you right now, a lot of them would have that woman have an abortion. I'm telling you right now. Or you would just even never hear of it, even if that child is out there. Sis, anyway, I've been clear. Leave that man.
I also want to add, if you look a couple of weeks ago, we had a video that went viral. I'll ask May to put a link underneath this specific video just for you. And that video was about a man whose wife cheated and both their children were in on it.
Yep.
the men spoke
Oh.
underneath that video. So much so that within 24 hours, we were at 2 million. And then they came on to our YouTube
2 million views.
to insult, 2 million views, sorry. And then they came onto our YouTube to insult May for saying she wanted to know why the wife was cheating.
Yeah.
She just wanted to know why. She wasn't saying it was right. She said she wanted to know why. I want you to look underneath that video and you look at the reasoning and you look at the way they talk about women and the way they insult women and the
things that they would
and
wouldn't have.
things that they would and wouldn't have. The way they tell you to that woman's a Jezebel, that her children, she also birthed Jezebels. Check if those children are yours. Everything. And I want you to look at that and that will give you the male perception of the situation.
Yeah, basically flip it and think, what would they do if they were in your predicament? I'm telling you right now, they wouldn't be around. Would not. I know men that have ended relationships because they thought their wives or partners were being too friendly. If they saw
have entered or ended.
Ended.
Okay.
Like if they saw just that conversation he had, your husband had with the baby mother, that would have ended their relationship. Like that would have been enough. Talk less about then having a baby with someone outside of their marriage. They would never accept it. Never, 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 ever. So if you're willing to accept it, fair enough. But again, honestly, sis, love yourself enough to walk away.
Okay, final submission. Good day. I've been following your podcast for a while now, and I really appreciate the insight and wisdom you share. I'd like to share my life experience and, if possible, get your thoughts or advice. My name is Sam, made up name. I was once engaged to a woman I truly loved. She's now my ex. Unfortunately, everything fell apart because of a mistake I made. I cheated on her with my friend's girlfriend. It was a terrible decision that I deeply regret. When my friend discovered the affair through messages between me and his girlfriend, he was devastated. He downloaded all the messages and sent them to my fiancée. That was one of the most painful and disturbing moments of my life. Cheating is destructive. It breaks trust in ways that are often impossible to repair. I take full responsibility for what happened. I wasn't strong enough to resist temptation, and I blame no one but myself for the consequences. Surprisingly, my friend and his girlfriend stayed together. I'm genuinely happy for them because they managed to move past it. As for me, I lost my relationship. And though it was painful, I've come to accept it. Now, I live a simple, single life and I'm at peace. I've also learned that in love, second chances are rare. Once trust is broken, it's incredibly hard to rebuild. I don't hold any bitterness. I wish my ex the very best in life and love. Thank you for taking the time to read my story. I hope it helps someone out there avoid the same mistakes I made.
Oh, that's nice. Thank you for putting in your story. It's nice that you've learned from your mistake. There's no excuses in there. You're not making up any stories. You're not shifting blame. I wish you all the best in your future endeavors.
Yeah, you seem self-aware enough to actually evaluate that period in your life and have good takeaways. And hopefully you don't make those mistakes again. So yeah, like Marie says, good luck. And please talk to your friends because honestly, there are other guys out there making those mistakes and excusing them as well. So if you could spread that mindset to other males, please, you'll be helping us.
Yeah. Do you know what I really like about this story was just like it was raw, it was honest, and there was accountability. And I also love the fact that, you know, now where you are at, you're at peace and you're single. Like you're not bothering anyone. No, I'm playing. I'm playing.
She's
No. I really like the honesty and the accountability. Like you're really accountable for your actions alone. You know exactly why it happened. And I wish that there were more people like you. I mean, sometimes you do mess up and you just have to hold that L. And seems like that's what you've done.
And that's it. Thank you so much for listening. If you have a favourite story, let us know in the comments. And we also want to hear from you. If you have any dilemmas, submit them and we will share them anonymously. Voice note us, email us, DM us. Just let us know.
And don't forget, every Tuesdays, Drama Tuesdays on IG and TikTok. See ya.
Bye.